Okay, so today we're going to discuss one thing that you could do and look for when you're choosing your next protein powder, or if you have one at home, something you can take a look at. So I got a few different protein powders here. I'm not going to show the actual brand just because I don't want my biases to come into play with this video. But one thing we're going to discuss is what to look for when buying your protein powder. So by law, each manufacturer must list their ingredients in descending order. So what does that mean? That means that the very first ingredient to the last, the very first is going to be made up of the majority of that product, right? And towards the end of the ingredients list, it's going to be very minimal of how much that ingredient is within that given product. So what do we want to look for when choosing our protein powder? So what you want to do is go directly to the ingredients. And what you're going to look for is that very first ingredient should say, guess what? Protein, right? So it should say something maybe like a whey protein isolate, maybe a whey protein concentrate, but what it should not say is something like maltodextrin, which is a carbohydrate and a very cheap and inexpensive sugar. So if you're buying a protein, you don't want the vast majority per serving to be a sugar or a carbohydrate. That's definitely not going to help you with your body composition or your recovery slash sports performance, right? So if we take a look at this given protein powder, the very first ingredient we have is whey protein isolate. The second is casein. And the third is flavoring, and it lists how much of each per gram of those ingredients has. And then it says other ingredients, it says absolutely none. So basically it has about 3 ingredients. The very first 2 are made up maybe about 90% of the actual product, and only about 5, maybe 10% is made up of actual flavor. So that is something you definitely want to purchase versus other brands. And these brands also label their very first ingredient as a protein, versus other brands might have some fillers, things that you're not wanting your protein powder to have the majority of it made up of. So when you're shopping for your protein powder, go straight to the ingredient list. The very first, maybe first or second ingredient should be whey protein isolate concentrate, and it shouldn't be a carbohydrate like a maltodextrin. That is a cheap and inexpensive thing to put in a product. So hopefully this helps you become a smarter consumer and look for some red flags when buying your next protein powder. Till next time.